Alexis alongside Oz because Oz, I know we like to share a couple of the pain from cricket together, West Indies, Pakistan, but now we have to focus on Pakistan. More recently, we have to. More recently, that T20 series against Australia kind of left us scratching our heads, Oz.
It's one you didn't want to stay up for.
It's one you did not want to stay up for, and it definitely was on at some illegal times, at least here in the UK. But the lightest defeat was 7 wickets. That last one as well. I mean, Australia cruised to the target without losing a single wicket, just not troubled whatsoever. So looking back just at this series specifically, what went wrong? What was not going right for Pakistan? How much time do we have?
I think we should start off with what didn't go wrong.
Yeah.
I think everything has gone wrong. Like, they didn't bat. They relied on Iftikhar Ahmed, who nobody wanted in the side anyway. In the first place, and he came in.
Plain and simple.
And, this Pakistan, just Pakistani things for you. The bowling wasn't up to much, and Australia are when Australia get down and they decide to build towards tournaments, and we're now going to prepare and we're going to choose our team and stuff. That's when they're serious. And I think Australia were taking it a little bit more seriously than Pakistan were. They had a new captain, they had some young players. A lot of things that have been going wrong this year went wrong again.
All right, well, I think that just kind of sums up the year, as you were alluding to there, because we do have some stats here. And if you look at 2017 to 2018 season, you might want to listen to this one. 25 wins in 29 matches played.
Days.
That was absolutely brilliant. That's one of the reasons why you shot up the rankings for sure. And then fast forward to 2019. Now, only 10 T20 internationals played, but in those 10, just 1 win and 8 losses. Now, 2018 to 2019 is not that much of a year for everything to go this down south, Oz. So where do we start? Where do you begin?
I would start. So those results, of the 8 losses, I would say a couple of them to South Africa at the start of the year were very narrow losses. And South Africa are a fairly decent side. Pakistan were in South Africa. But I think what it did was kill a lot of the momentum that Pakistan had built from 2018. That was their first series loss in T20, I think, for 11, which is insane if you think about, the format and how it's not so easy to dominate. So that was their first series loss. Then they had a massive break. They played 1 T20 against England. I think the real problem started when, and I don't say this often, when Misbah took over. They got rid of Mickey Arthur, and there were reasons for that, which is fine.
Good friend of ours here at ESPNcricinfo.
Misbah is also a good friend of ours, but Misbah came in, and I think he tried to do too much. With that side, it wasn't nearly as broke as he thought it was.
So simply, if it ain't broke,
I think so. Yeah, the first thing he did was bring in Ahmed Shahzad and Omar Akmal for that Sri Lanka series, and these are 2 guys who Pakistan had definitively dumped in 2016 to the extent that the coach then had said, literally never let these guys come back. Like, literally in his report, he said,
let them go off into the sunset.
The polite way of saying it was, let them play first-class cricket and let them prove themselves. But he meant never let them come back. And what's the first thing Misbah is, he brings them back. Yeah. And they were bad. It's not their fault. They're obviously going to play if they come back. So, he's unsettled the team a little bit. And they were missing a few bowlers. And then Sarfraz, the captaincy change happened, which I still believe was wrong. I don't think they should have sacked him from that format. And those things have kind of all gone into each other and come out with this blech of a year that they've had.
Well, I mean, things may have been going south in terms of results for Pakistan in T20 internationals, but when they were going right, it was all because of one man, literally one man, at least with the batting so much so, and that's Babar Azam. And again, looking at the stats, there seems to be a huge over-reliance on him, so to speak. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but almost 30% of Pakistan's runs this year come from this one man. Yeah. And I say almost because it's just 29, literally. So really, round it off, 30%. So, I mean, what's not clicking there in the batting?
I think, so the secret to their success over the last couple of years was always that they batted competently. Not amazingly. They batted competently. They would have Babar doing what he does. But they would have guys coming in with contributions around him. So they had Fakhr doing some stuff at the top. Then they would have guys like Malik and Hafiz, who are also no longer in the team. They're old now and they're not in the team. But they were also just chipping in. Imad Wasim was chipping in with runs. And they would get to like 160, 170, which was enough for their bowlers to defend. Now, they've lost a lot of that batting impetus. Fakhr has had a horrible year. Babar has, gotten even better than he was last year. And one of the wrong things Misbah said was that this team was entirely reliant on Babar, which it wasn't, because they had contributions from everywhere. This year, he's now actually proved that true, that they were just relying on his batting. So, guys like Fakhr have fallen away. They've made some bad selections again. They had Haris Sohail and Mohammad Rizwan in the top 4, and those are 2 guys who you would have in a top 4 in an ODI side, but never in a T20 side together. So I think, selections have been bad, and they've put more pressure on Babar, and he's tried to do what he could. But, if he's the only guy and he's going at the pace that he's comfortable at, then you're going to struggle. And that's why I think they put on, 109 in that last T20 against Australia.
Yeah.
Which is, they haven't hit any totals, really, in all this time. And they've struggled because of that.
Well, like you said, I mean, just we know the batting woes, and in that last T20 against Australia, and you sit down and you look at the fact that, okay, it's very low total, just 100 and change, but when Pakistan's bowling clicks, why not? Of course they can defend it, but it just absolutely didn't. So issues with the bowling that you see need to be addressed sooner than later.
Yeah, a lot of issues. Primarily, I think we were discussing this before as well. Shadab Khan has had a really bad year. 4 wickets in 9 games, I think. His average is not that important in T20s, I guess, but he's picking up hardly any wickets. He was a little bit better in Australia, but then he didn't have totals to defend. So he's been bad. Hassan Ali, they've missed. He's been one of the guys primarily behind that rise, and he's been off his game this year. He's only played, I think, 2 or 3 T20s. And other guys, Amir's been okay, but if you take away like 3 or 4 bowlers from that lineup, and Fahim Ashraf was the other guy. I was going to say Fahim Ashraf has had a poor year, and he was really one of their nailed-on death bowlers. Really good. And if you start losing 3 or 4 guys, you don't have that depth in Pakistan where you can just replace one with the other. And so, with these guys falling off, the bowling really, and it was, make no mistake, the bowling that really kind of took them to the top. And when you lose these guys and Shadab's a bit off color, then you have what you have this year,
All right, well, before we wrap up, it is almost Christmas time. 'Tis the season, we're getting into it, so I'm feeling giving. Give me your wish list, your top 3 wishes now for Pakistan.
Just T20s?
Yes, let's just start there, because that is where you expect them to be that force, and it just absolutely wasn't recently.
Win the World T20 next year, win the World T20 next year, and
win the World T20 next year. But you've got some issues to address there for sure, and I'm sure we'll catch up with Oz later on to find out if they are indeed addressed sooner than later. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.